Hello everyone and welcome to the FPL Cougars show. I'm Chris.
I'm Kieran.
And today we are previewing Gameweek 31 plus. So in tonight's show we're discussing each upcoming Gameweek fixture, predicting the potential key players, differentials and clean sheets. We'll also talk captaincy, reveal our teams. I'm playing a wildcard and Kieran, you're playing a free hit. It's going to be exciting. We'll also pick out our Cougar Cub picks. It's a really quick turnaround, Kieran. We've got a game week starting tomorrow, so let's get into where we've been or where we are so far with game week 30 plus and bring up our scores on screen right now. Both really similar points, different players.
Yep.
106 for me, 103 for you. What have you thought of the game week so far? I feel like every time I speak to you about it, you feel like there's missed opportunity, but it's mammoth score still.
Yeah, it's been okay, I suppose. Most of the single week players that we expected to do well have sort of done well. Other than Barnes, I suppose, was me my only one that I'm pretty disappointed with. Spent quite a bit of money on him at 6.2. For him to blank was a bit frustrating because he was anonymous, like literally the whole game. Just Leicester were, to be honest. But yeah, the double, I guess, really all we could hope for considering the fixtures and stuff. I guess Sheffield United losing 3-0 to Newcastle was a bit strange, but their team is a little bit, I guess, under the weather with the Egan red card and everything. And, O'Connell out, and Henderson is going to be banned for the next game, isn't he, because of on loan from United. So El Ghazi was my big disappointment as well. I don't know. You know this. Like I did have Armstrong in my squad in quite a few, and I thought, you know what? I spoke to a few Southampton fans on Twitter, and they were all just like, we're not sure he's going to start. And so I went for El Ghazi instead for the double, the safety net of 2 games to 2 pops of the apple or whatever. But so I still did well. 103 points, obviously 48k overall to 27k. So it's still a good rise at the moment. Hoping for more tonight, obviously. But yeah, it could have just been a little bit more. And I could have got into the top 10k, top 15 or something, I think, if I went for punts that I was genuinely considering.
Yeah. I think we've generally been... It's funny, really, considering we had different captains. So I went De Bruyne in the end after much deliberation. You kept it on Aguero. I suppose one of our main differences, again, was I kept Salah as one of my single game week players, thinking I'm going to keep Salah and I won't sort of make him into a Mahrez or Sterling, and that sort of backfired because Salah's got nothing and the rest of that money I could have spent elsewhere on the squad. But no, 106 points, I'm not going to complain at all. But my single game week has came in, Ings with 11 points, Jimenez with 8 and Fernandez 6. So I was really pretty pleased with all of those. Some disappointment, like you say. I thought Leno getting that injury when Arsenal could have been on for what looked like a potential clean sheet, and Egan getting that red card of all the Sheffield United defenders I could have chose from. I ended up choosing Lundstrom, obviously came on and got -1 points, and Egan got, I think, a total of -3 from that game. So yeah, that second Newcastle game was no good. I was really pleased about Saka, actually, because we had this conversation before, and I don't want to bring up Aubameyang too much, but it'd be good to get your thoughts on it, because I mean, going into this game week, he didn't have like great numbers, and I'd owned him for that double before the break, and he'd been really bad in the first game at West Ham at home, and I thought, I'm not going to go there with Aubameyang again. Stick it on Saka, and I think he ended up being Arsenal's second highest scorer behind Pepe. So yeah, I was chuffed with that. What did you think about Aubameyang overall on that game week?
Awful against City, barely touched the ball. Don't think he even had a shot or something. But yeah, he looked more lively against Brighton. Like the link-ups with Lacazette was a lot better. But they were sort of speculative shots, a few of them. But I expect with me selling him, you selling him, and a lot of people selling him now, he'll probably score this week. And he'll probably score against Norwich as well, and continue to be the fraud that he is. So.
Yeah, I think it's a good couple of game weeks for him now. All right, well let's move on and start talking about the fixtures, which are going to start tomorrow. So we're recording this before the Man City game, so
quick turnaround.
Yeah, really quick turnaround. So let's get into it. I've got our teams up on screen now. Do you want to just start by talking a little bit about your free hit team, because you're playing that rather than a wild card? Do you want to talk a little bit just about your thoughts behind that before we get into the fixtures?
Yeah, so it's very preliminary at the moment. Changes will be made. I'm waiting sort of to see how De Bruyne plays tonight in the obviously Burnley game, in the one remaining fixture of the double, and then see how many minutes he has as well, and just to see if I want to remove him on the free hit, just because his price bracket, if I take him out, there's a lot of funds I can spread around there for upgrades pretty much everywhere. So, and I think that Chelsea game will probably be quite tight. I think he might get a return, assuming he plays like 70 minutes tonight or something. He might still get a return, but I don't think it's going to be massive like against Arsenal. So, it's a risk taking him out, but we'll see. And then Son I think is also a risk because I wasn't particularly impressed by Spurs. And then, the rest of the squad is mostly nailed on at this point. Lascelles may go, Pope may go, but Trent, Doherty, Mane, Bruno, Calvert-Lewin, Jimenez, those are all definitely staying. Rashford may not go because I would like Vardy, but I wasn't fully convinced by Leicester either. So, there's things up in the air at the moment which will be decided on tonight, I guess, after I watch City.
I suppose one thing for me to mention, based on like all the unexpected injuries, are you kind of, your bench order at the moment doesn't suggest it, but is there any thinking in your mind that you might have at least one player on your bench who could be someone who could come in and just get you
possibly.
a couple of points?
I haven't fully thought about the bench yet. That's all still to be decided. It's I'm just going as cheap as possible, but I will try and get at least one that can play if I need to. Guendouzi at least seems to be playing games, so I can put him first up if I need to.
He's lucky he's not getting a ban for the little chokehold on Fire. I saw they said they weren't going to ban him, but that's unusual because usually you do that and violent conduct. I've gone for something a little bit sort of longer. I suppose it's a little bit longer term, but it still looks good for this weekend. So it's my wild card, which I was always keen to play after the bench boost, just to get rid of some unlimited transfer players. I think it's pretty fairly balanced, really. So I've tried to pick teams with either they've got good fixtures until the end of the season, or they've got something to play for. So just to run through it, Pope in goal, who's been a mainstay for me all season. Doherty, I kind of just watched that West Ham game, and just to see him on the edge of the box, although the numbers weren't great for him, just a little eye test. I think there's a lot more to come with those good fixtures. Trent speaks for himself. Fernandes, I've just now got the money, and I think he's worth it. He was really close to that additional bonus point in a 3-0 win yesterday. He didn't do anything, so
didn't get the yellow card like Lascelles as well. So.
I think he's that 0.3. Hopefully, I'm going to get some additional points off that. So De Bruyne, Fernandes again in midfield for Man United. My big decision, which we'll talk a little bit more about when we talk about Villa later, is Sarr in over Grealish at the moment. So I just watching those two Aston Villa games, really disappointed with Grealish's output, touches in the box, and deciding it might go without him. Salah, Calvert-Lewin, Jimenez and Vardy complete the sort of 11 with Martin, Basham, Douglas Luiz and Kabasele sort of completing it. So I'd be interested to hear some thoughts of the viewers on that until the end of the season. But do you think that seems pretty fair team?
Seems balanced and nice to me, obviously Newcastle have been obviously quite cheap, and you get that Newcastle player, but they've been solid at the back, haven't they? So, and I think with their fixtures, they're probably only going to keep more clean sheets, to be honest. So, the only thing, my probable wild card front line would be like possibly Rashford in there instead of one of them, but I think it looks solid, doesn't it? Were you surprised that Douglas Luiz started both the games as well? I thought Nakamba might sort of drink waters there as well, and Hourihane and stuff like that.
It's funny.
I was a bit surprised he played both.
Yeah, and he nearly got an assist for the actual goal if that guy hadn't fluffed it up. So I was a little bit surprised. I'd read lots of things from Aston Villa fans beforehand saying how awful he was, but he'd played like consistent 90-minute games before the break, so I kind of figured that okay, well, he's been playing those. Is he really going to get rotated now? So no, I was happy to see him complete 180 minutes, and I think he'll just stay as my 4.4 million, hopefully to never get off the bench player.
Yeah, fair enough.
Cool. All right, well let's move into fixtures. So I'm sure this is going to be a lot shorter and sweeter than most weeks because we haven't got a lot of data to go on, and a lot of teams aren't that interested at the moment. But yeah, let's give it a go. So we're going to start with Leicester against Brighton. I've gone Vardy. He was in your thinking for a while, wasn't he? You not got him.
I haven't got him yet, but I think he will come in. But I wasn't really sort of impressed by Leicester at all, to be honest. I think they looked Vardy looked quite isolated. He had a couple of decent chances, but none of them actually registered as big chances in the stats. So I don't know, honestly. He's a lot to spend, but he is chasing the golden boot. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about him? I mean, I've got stats here, but what do you think, just personally or quickly?
I think his form has been so poor since Christmas, and obviously that one and almost an anomaly now. Was it again? I forget. Was it West Ham before the break? Who did he score 2 goals? I think it was some. He scored that double, didn't he, off the bench? Yeah. And I was really irritated by it. To be honest, I brought him in on the wild card, thinking that this Brighton game looks better than Rashford's game against Sheffield United, and I kind of think that that's like a good game for him to secure some points. But after this, I don't think his fixtures are that great, and for his price point, I'd probably be keen to move him on. Yeah. So
no, I think that's fair.
Yeah, that's my thinking on him.
Bar Gameweek 29. So like Vardy had failed to score since week 18. So that's a good old 10 odd weeks that he hadn't scored, bar that the 2 off the bench. But he's actually 49% anytime scorer for the bookies odds this week, which is obviously pretty high. But I don't know, Brighton, they were fairly solid against Arsenal, really. They didn't give up many chances. So are they going to be on a little bit of a come down? Maybe they're possibly safe. Are Leicester going to be able to sort of run away with it? I'm not sure. But yeah, Vardy he's obviously 28.4% owned now, so he's still pretty high. But he had 2 shots against Watford, an XG of 0.09, which is awful, an XA of 0.16. Only 2 key passes, 0 big chances created, 2 points. So yeah, he just looks like quite isolated. No one was really close to him. Barnes is usually the one that's meant to be close, but just had an awful game as well, to be honest. He was super underwhelming, as I said earlier. Expected a lot from him. But yeah, speaking of Barnes, his XG and XA were 0.02, so didn't even get to 0.05 or anything. So just awful. Again, only 1 shot and just 64 minutes I think he played or something. And whereas he got taken off, and his replacement Damari Gray actually looked quite bright and good. Well. So he did. So Barnes' place in the team may be questionable for the time being. Who knows? But I think Maddison actually looked quite good. He had 5 shots this week, which is, I think, is top for all mids. But all of them were outside of the box, and only 1 on target. So, the XG was only 0.19 from all of that. 1 key pass, 1 big chance created. So, yeah, his stats are okay, but, they're not sustainable for FPL points, really, if he's taking all the shots from outside the box. So, I'm struggling to see if Vardy is going to be that influential in this game, honestly.
He's the biggest question mark for me on this one with him and my team, because I kind of, on paper, the fixture's good, and he scored the last time these 2 teams met, but his form just in that game and then pre-lockdown wasn't anything to get too excited about. So I think for the price, I'm honestly just giving him this game, and then Rashford's going to come in, because I think their fixtures, United's fixtures after Sheffield United, are a lot more appealing than Vardy's are.
Yeah, I think it's between Vardy and Rashford for me this week as well. Maybe the gamble is just Vardy for this week, and then move on. But yeah, we'll see. Honestly, but yeah, Justin, I think he's Ricardo Pereira's replacement at right back. Looked pretty good. More defensive than Pereira, more defensive than Chilwell, but he's 4.7 million in a strong defence. At 0.4% owned, I think you can do a lot worse. I think there's probably a clean sheet for him this week. So yeah, I'm looking at him on the free hit for sure, because it looks like a clean sheet.
Yeah, maybe he could be one of that cheap bench option that could come in if you need it.
Yeah, possibly. I think it's probably too much for a bench option at 4.7, because there's players like Lascelles and stuff like that at 4.3. But yeah. On
the Brighton side of things, there wasn't really a lot to mention. Obviously, a good win for them against Arsenal. He was up for it basically after the injury with Leno. That was his 11th attacking return of the season. He had 4 shots, so he was all over it. Had a lot to say in his post-match press conference as well. But they haven't really got much that interests me recently, sort of towards the next 5 games, maybe towards the end of the season. So they've got 4 of the top 5 in the next 5 games. So that's Leicester this game, Man United, Liverpool and City. Sandwiched right in the middle of that is a tasty looking game at Norwich. But I think they're, after winning at the weekend, looking like they've got a bit of breathing space now. So don't know how motivated they're going to be. I'd imagine they're going to focus that Norwich game, and I think they could be potential whipping boys in some of these bigger clashes. So could be interesting.
That's the consideration for Vardy. Yeah. It's just like, are they going to be thinking they're a little bit more safe and relaxing a bit?
Yeah, I think the only person I wanted to highlight as basically a sure starter is Dunk. So he had that 6th attacking return of the season against Arsenal. He's only missed 1 game. He's 4.7 million. So he's not, like you say, not the cheapest defender you can squeeze in, but if you're looking for someone with a nailed on reliable starts with a decent amount of goal threat, and he could be worth including in your team until the end of the season. But like I say, those fixtures are tough, so really he'd be a benchable option.
Yep.
Yeah, that's all on that one. So should we move on? Spurs against West Ham. I just kick us off by just saying, on the West Ham side of things, again, a bit like Brighton for me, they're not really a team I've got anything invested in between now and the end of the season. I saw Moyes in his press conference today say we're going to get out of the trouble, don't worry, we'll be fine. But I've got to say, they look so bad. So they're the third worst team for form in the last 5 games. 9 goals conceded in the last 5, no clean sheets. I suppose the one little ray of light for this game week is they've not lost in the last 3 at Tottenham, whether that was Tottenham Hotspur Stadium or White Hart Lane. So that's quite good. But yeah, their prospects I don't feel like are good. There's no one in the team I can get excited about. Fabianski used to be a good sort of point of reference for goalkeeper with saves and whatnot, but he's too expensive compared to the likes of Pope. And when you got Henderson doing what he's been doing, nothing interesting. Antonio is out of position. That's kind of interesting, but he's 6.9 million and far too expensive when you got players like Sarr and, well, before lockdown, Harvey Barnes doing things in midfield. So yeah, for me, West Ham are pretty much a no-go area at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about this sort of game in general? Because West Ham usually are up for this against Spurs. Like you said, they haven't lost to Spurs in a while. So I don't know whether I should target it or not, because obviously Son and Bergwijn and Kane, on paper, it's a really good fixture and one to target on the free hit. But I don't know, like, yeah, what do you think?
Spurs didn't inspire me the other night against United. I don't know about you, but I mean, it was typical Jose performance. They sat back.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like once you turn the tap that way and you set your team up to be more defensive, how easy is it to turn it back the other way and say, right, go and attack now? How many games do you remember as Jose as United or Chelsea? Maybe Chelsea a bit more actually, but United manager where like they really went for a team and went after them and scored 2-3 goals and whipped them. I know it's a different set of players, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see how well they can do it. I think the only time they've done that under Jose was like his first game at home, where they destroyed Burnley, and Son was really involved that game. But yeah, for me, I wouldn't consider Kane because of his price. It would only be Son or Bergwijn.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's a 1 week punt. It's like even Son is quite a lot of money. I could spread that funds a long way as well. Like, you know, it could get Vardy, it could get Robertson instead for Lascelles and stuff like that. It's this, on paper it looks good, but I'm just not convinced. Like you said, like their XG, obviously they were parking the bus. It's probably because that game was 0.59, which is like 19th of all teams this week. Yeah. But is that just the fixture? Like, are they going to turn it around? Not sure. Again, but Son, he did have 4 shots, which was joint second of all mids. He was on all corners. Took 1 direct free kick as well. Seemed to be further up the pitch than Harry Kane, who had this heat map like Sissoko, basically. I don't know if you watched any of the highlights or watched the game at all, but yeah, Kane was so far back.
Yeah, I saw. Yeah, awful.
But yeah, Son, he had 0 big chances. I think he had that header, which was nice save by De Gea, but not counted as a big chance. 0 key passes, 0 big chances created. So in that one game, yeah, it's United, but I don't know. It seems like a gamble that it might not be worth it at this point. Obviously, there's Ali as well, which is slightly cheaper, who has got a good record under Jose points wise for FPL. But do we assume he comes straight back in? I would guess so.
Yeah, I think so. Well, maybe an option.
And then there's Bergwijn, who actually has. Yeah, possibly. But then there's Bergwijn, who is 7.4 million, who actually has had really good returns at home. So he's had 10, 7, and 11. So he's not blanked at home yet.
That's good.
But his other games have been 2, 2, and 1. So, and I don't. He only had one shot. He's clinical. I think he's only had like a couple of shots in the other games where he scored. So he's not getting like a big outlay of numbers, and that worries me about him. So I think he could be a bit of a trap, possibly. But Aurier, maybe someone to look at for this game.
Maybe. But Jose did say today he didn't have any competition for Aurier at right back because all the other players were injured. Yeah. So at least he's
only 4.9.
Yeah,
that's cheap.
He's quite cheap
for someone who does quite often get an assist or a second return. So, but he loves a yellow card, likes a red card as well. Yeah, I'm not sure that's a risk I want to take on the free hit. But,
if it was me, I'd probably stick with Son. I mean, Kane looked like he was playing the role Rooney used to do for United when he was like on his way out of the door, when he was playing in midfield, spraying passes. This is all Kane's been doing recently. You see, Jose came out with that huge statement today in his press conference about Kane and what are the good other strikers he's had, and my strikers always score well, so Kane can score well. He was basically listing all the strikers he's had in his career and saying, Drogba, Ronaldo, Benzema, Milito, they've all scored me like 30 goals a season. There's no reason why Kane can't in my system. So, I don't know. I don't think...
But why is he so deep then? Surely none of those other players played so deep. Right?
Never saw Ronaldo play centre midfield for a Jose side. That's very strange.
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. So our Wednesday's games, there's only 2, I think, tomorrow. So then on Wednesday we got, I think, 5 games, starting with Manchester United against Sheffield United. Few things to note on the Sheffield United defensive front. Obviously, Henderson's missing out because he's playing his parent club. Egan's out because he's been red carded, and Lundy's out because he's out of favour. What's going on, Kieran? I thought Lundy was definitely nailed on to start those 2 after, I don't know, Berg's performances before the break, but no, Lundy's back on the bench again.
I would guess he's probably on the bench again this week. I think Wilder said some comments today about it's probably the same 9 from that started the last game to start again.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So yeah, even O'Connell, we haven't really heard too much about his fitness, so there could be Jagielka in there, Robertson and whoever else to come in. So it feels like it might be a good game for United attacking assets. Are Sheffield United they're probably going to park the bus, I would imagine. Definitely. But do they have those integral cogs to park it without those pieces missing, I suppose? So yeah, I'm tempted by a Man United midfield triple up. I'm tempted by Rashford. I'm tempted to captain someone like Bruno or Rashford, someone like that. Because the reverse fixture was 3-3, so this was the time when Sheffield United was keeping clean sheets for fun, and United scored 3 against them. Yeah. So obviously there's history there, and Pogba back with Bruno, that was the spark that sort of ignited United last week. So I imagine Pogba will start this week, and it feels like it's there for United's games to lose 100%, and they need to make a statement. I feel if Pogba and Bruno start. So yeah, XG wise for United, it was 2.22, which was third of all teams, which is pretty good. Which against a Spurs team, he parked the bus. That is surprisingly high. But yeah, Bruno, he's 18.5% owned now, and that's again only going to continue to go up. I got back onto him for the free hit, and a lot of people are going to be getting him on wildcards now and everything. So apart from the first game he played where he had to play CDM. He's had 6, 14, 10, 6, 6, and 9, so he hasn't blanked at all, which is obviously really good. There's not really many holes in there, but it's consistency and possibly a captain shout. Seems to be on pens. Seems to be on the first pen at least. Rashford did have the ball for the second one, but obviously wasn't taken in the end. But so yeah, they might be sharing the duty, but I think Bruno will take the first one at least. But yeah, for this week, only KDB had a higher XG and XA as a midfielder.
Wow.
So yeah, Bruno is doing well across the board, to be honest.
Yeah, I kind of like him as a captaincy pick this week. Like before you'd mentioned all those numbers in the home games, I hadn't really given him much consideration. But I think like against this weakened defensively Sheffield United side, he could be a look in this weekend. Wilder was sort of complaining in his press conference, and their turnaround is quick, isn't it? The fact they're playing Wednesday after playing Sunday, United have had that extra sort of half day rest, and the fact they're playing away again after travelling to Newcastle might be quite sapping on them and their depleted squad. So I think, I mean, it's interesting you say about the parking the bus with Sheffield United. So conceding 3 goals like this weekend, they've only done that once before this season. That was against United in the first game of the season, but they did fall to pieces after that John Egan red card. So I wonder if they will be a little bit tighter from the start. I don't think they're looking much of a threat going forward, so it could be a United cleaner here. So for Sheffield United, they had an XG of 0.7 for their first 2 games since we're back, so that was really poor. Some of their assets have, after being like really quite excited to have them, I kind of feel like it makes sense to keep one nailed defender. So I'll probably keep Basham until the end of the season. But their fixtures are kind of getting a bit tricky now. As they've got 4 of the top 6 in the next 5 game weeks, and with Lundy, who's been such a popular pick, still not secure of starts at 39%. He's really well owned, but I'm bailing out now. There's no way I'm gonna. I don't want to have any 1-pointers from him now. I'd much rather just have the security of starts for someone. So, especially when we don't know about any injuries to players. So yeah, Lundy's right off my radar. I think Stevens, Basham, and Baldock look pretty well nailed at 5.1, 5.46, and 5.2, respectively. So yeah, I think I'm moving away a little bit from the Sheffield United defence towards the end of the season now.
I think they're probably going to choke the sort of position. I think they might finish 7th or 8th in the end, actually, was considering these fixtures. So I don't know, what is Europa 6th and 7th?
I can't remember what it is.
5th, 6th, 7th? Anyway,
it's somewhere around there.
So they might still get Europa, but I think that would probably be bad for them. Get that squad, like, he doesn't have much money going to the Europa League and has to start like Wolves did in July or whatever it was. Like, that's going to be tough for them.
Definitely. They need big investment. I kind of feel like it would go the way of Burnley did a couple of seasons ago, where they just couldn't manage both and they had a really bad following season. But you never know. All right, should we move on? Newcastle against Villa. What have you got to say about the Newcastle? They won a game convincingly. I suppose they were playing against 10, but they all look good.
Yeah, I think the clean sheet always looked likely there. I did have Lascelles in a few of my drafts as well. I think it was in the draft with Armstrong, so there was a big swing of points there that I didn't get. But yeah, the big surprise, I guess, I suppose you can guess who it is.
Joe Linton.
Yeah, Joe Linton. He's had the highest XG of all strikers, can you imagine, for this week so far, of 0.94 XG, which is first, obviously. He had a big... really unlucky, but yeah, nice to finish that other goal.
Yeah.
We'll see. But yeah, Anna St. Maximan, I thought looked really, really good.
Yeah.
Gave Sheffield United the runaround. 8 points, 1 goal, 1 shot. So he was clinical, obviously, but 1 big chance. XG and an XA of 0.41, so that they're there. Those are decent stats for one game. But yeah, it shows big promise, I think. Next 3 fixtures are good. So yeah, it could be possibly worth a look on a wildcard or free hit this week, to be honest.
Yeah, I think.
What do you think about him?
Yeah, I think he's quite interesting, actually. It's funny they're playing each other this week, but he was someone I was looking at when I was looking closely at the Grealish stats. His name kept popping up, and the fact that he added a bit of end product this weekend was like nice and timely, really. So yeah, I think Alison Maximan's a really interesting differential. I'm not sure keen on I don't think his price point's very good, like 5.4, because it feels quite low for a 4th midfielder. And I think you'd either have to go really heavy attacking premium or defensive premium just to fit him in, and then is he that reliable as a 4th mid? So he's a bit of a funny price point, but they do have some good fixtures, man. Aston Villa, Bournemouth, West Ham in the next 3.
0.8%. He might be one for like the right end of the season when you need that sort of punt to get you somewhere.
Yeah.
Although they do play Liverpool in Gameweek 38, so maybe not. But the 37 I think is pretty good for them, which is Brighton away. So that's pretty good. Yeah. He could be decent.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I think it's a big game, this. So 1 point in the last 5 for Villa, which is joint worst in the league. They've only scored 1 goal in the last 4 game weeks, which is the scramble one this against Chelsea somehow. yeah, they've got 3 of the top 6 in the next 5, and they've not scored in 4 of their last 7 away games. So none of these stats are that exciting. And they did win this fixture earlier in the season, 2-0. But when I looked at Grealish's stats, none of it was nice reading. So 0 returns in the last 4, no shots in the 2 Gameweek 30 plus games, 4 key passes, 3 penalty area touches in the 2 Gameweek 30 games. So that was worse than the McGinn, Davis, and House, who's the defender. I mean, he's still owned by 25%, and he was getting bigged up today by the manager saying, "Oh, we've got to unleash Jack. We've got to get him the ball and whatnot." But he was saying, "Oh, he thinks he's ready now." But this Newcastle game is, I mean, he's had 2 games to get ready, and he showed nothing. So I don't know. I'm
just poor tactics.
Yeah.
I think it's the manager's fault, really.
He's not
just getting.
Yeah. Sorry.
Carry
no,
on.
I was going to say, go for it.
I was just say he was getting him to track back and defend the whole time, and that's just you. Obviously, he's good at that, but it's not going to help him going forward, or the team trying to counterattack, because that Davis guy was completely alone. He never had Grealish anywhere near him. So,
I know it's strange.
that was a disappointing double game week player, because I said like there seemed to be pretty much no reason for you not to own him for this week, with unlimited transfers and free hits and things, but. Just 4 points, getting that stupid yellow card as well.
It was 3, wasn't it, in the end? Oh no, it was.
No, it was 4 altogether. But so just a proper shame.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about him? So you obviously forget about him for a week with the free hit, but after Newcastle, Wolves, Liverpool, Man United, Crystal Palace, who Palace have been good defensively. I'm looking at Sarr. He had 4 big chances, 6 touches in the box in the last 4 game weeks. That includes obviously pre-lockdown. And Traore from Wolves seems good as well, 5.7. He looked dangerous when he came on. He's got some good fixtures. He's not been that consistent for goals, but assist potential's always there. I kind of feel like there's other options for teams who have also got things to fight for, who look like they're in a lot more form. Just a shame he's the talisman of that team.
Yeah, I think he'll almost certainly be going on my wildcard. I'm afraid.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Should we move on and talk about Norwich against Everton? Or is there any more you want to add on?
I want to quickly mention Richie.
Oh, yeah.
5.3 million, 0.2% owned, playing out of position of the sort of front 3-ish, I guess, who is a defender in the game. Used to be on penalties. I'm not sure if he definitely still is, but he's on set pieces as well. 3 shots, 3 on target, XG of 0.38 and an XA of 0.44. 1 assist, 1 goal, 15 points. So he's the highest scorer of this week so far. But is he going to be able to repeat that? I think the way Newcastle play, he's probably not going to get that many returns. But I think at 0.2% owned and looks to be nailed on at this point, he could be a massive differential with these fixtures. He could get clean sheets as well, possible attacking returns. I think he. It's a shame he's possibly too expensive, 5.3, but. Yeah, I do like him as a differential. Yeah,
I think he's good. If I had a bit more money to spend on Fernandez, I'd be definitely picking up Richie, at least for these next 3. At 2 home games against Aston Villa and West Ham, and then away against Bournemouth. I think prime time. All right, Norwich against Everton. We've spoke a little bit off stream about this, but Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin have surely got to be shoo-ins in some sort of team this weekend. Richie was my Cougar pick. You even might pick him. When I was looking at the stats again, I mean, things that are blatantly obvious sometimes you miss. The fact that Richie's the 4th highest scoring midfielder this season, I've never really once considered him, but he's snuck up to be that high. He looked lively against Liverpool. I mean, he obviously made mincemeat of Lovren a couple times, 5 shots, 1 key pass, against that Norwich team who looked absolutely woeful against Southampton. So Norwich conceded 15 shots against Southampton, only won 1 of last 5. Norwich have failed to score in 5 of their last 6 games. I kind of feel like between Richie and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, one of them is surely going to get like a double-digit haul this weekend. Or this week, I should say.
You would think so, but I think, is it too obvious?
I don't know.
I mean, that seems silly, obviously, to say, but Norwich going to be that bad again? Who knows? But if I'm probably going to get him in my free hit. If I take out De Bruyne, that's how I would do it, and spread the funds elsewhere. But I think he's possibly a captaincy shout as well.
Really? I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think 31 feels like a time that you could gamble on a captain, because there is some really good fixtures for some teams. True. Against teams that are really bad. So, and this looks prime. He could. He's 10% owned, right? So you hit a big double-digit haul with Richie at the captain.
It could be good. But that's the thing. But like you say, because there's so many other good players with good fixtures, you kind of feel like a lot of them could do good. And obviously, teams like Man United and Liverpool and to another extent City are going to make far more, and even Wolves at home against Bournemouth are going to make more regular chances than an Everton team. So it's just about efficiency. Yeah, I kind of feel like they might more. Yeah, then they've got a bigger chance to score higher. I still think Richie's a great pick for this weekend, but captaincy would be a ballsy move.
Do you think double up is a good idea for this fixture? Because I that's what I'm debating. Because if it's DCL is so cheap at 6.5 and just a nailed on, just good pick in that sort of striker role, but then Richarlison at the 8.3, he's sort of tough to fit in. If I don't want to get rid of other like big sort of players, so it's the double up I need to consider as well.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting one. I mean, DCL has looked good as well. So he's had 5 goals in the last 10. I don't think there's nothing necessarily wrong with a double up. If you doubled up with Armstrong and Ings last weekend against the Saints, you would have been looking at like 20 odd plus points. So what's to say Richarlison and Calvert-Lewin can't do the same? Yeah,
you're thinking Richarlison might assist DCL something.
Yeah.
I have had a few drafts where I've looked at Digne as well. At 5.7, I believe he is now. Still quite expensive, but I think it's probably a clean sheet. And we know he can produce attacking returns. But yeah, maybe too expensive. There is Holgate still at 4.3 who seems to still be nailed on. So there's another cheap player who he could be my first sort of bench option if I need. So there is options in that Everton team for this week and on Wildcard for players.
Yeah, no, I like it. On the Norwich side of things, anything worth mentioning?
I mean, I don't even think their fixtures look that bad at the moment. Obviously, Everton... No. I'm not saying buying into them, but if they need to make a run, now is the time. These next 5, like Arsenal away is not going to be a hard fixture at the moment. This Everton one, they'll probably lose for sure. But other than that, they got Brighton, Watford and West Ham, which is decent.
Yeah. Teams around them, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Pookie... Yeah, everyone was kind of looking at him thinking 6.5 million with a really good fixture against Saints. He was pretty awful. Looks actually quite lean and quite fit, but produced next to nothing. Went off early. Only 1 shot. An XG of 0.05. An XA of 0.08. So, yeah, pretty bad. Cantwell didn't even register an XG. He got 0.00. And an XA of 0.07. So, he only managed 62 minutes, 2 key passes. Maybe a keeper as the 4th midfielder, but rotation prone now, as we've seen. No one really else to mention, honestly. No. So it's doom and gloom for Norwich.
Yeah, same for me. All right, so moving on, Wolves against Bournemouth. Team Wolves, who are like top of our want list really at the moment in a lot of positions. Jimenez obviously looking good. Doherty, you had him. I mean, how pleased were you with Doherty's performance this weekend? Or maybe not the performance, but point return. He's on fire at the minute.
Very pleased. Talk about consistency. He's been doing it for a while now, and this is the first time I've got on into him for absolutely ages because I've just never been able to quite afford him. But with the unlimited transfers, he had to come in. But yeah, he's still only 9.5% owned for someone who's had 6, 6, 10, 12, 6 and 12 in his last 6. Only 9.5% owned is crazy. Maybe a little bit fortunate to get the assist. It was a good cross, but a hell of a finish from Neto.
It was good, wasn't it?
But so his performance wise was pretty bad, really. 0 shots, 0 big chances created, and only 2 key passes. So obviously he needs to up that, and his position was still pretty good, but the fixtures are great, and really hard not to pick him. He needs to be close to like 30% owned, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I think he's looking really, really good. I'm like you say, at 6 points, I think 6 bonus points he's had in his last 4 games, and they're a great run of fixtures now. So Bournemouth, Villa in the next 2, Arsenal, Sheffield United, Everton. I kind of feel like when you watch the highlights,
those 3 are hard, but
those 3 are harder. But I mean, when you watch the performance and you see, I only watched the highlights of that one, and it was Moutinho whipped it wide, and that's how it got to Traore before the Jimenez goal. And I was just like looking at the layout of the players on the pitch. And I was like, who's that on the D? Like heading it back out wide to Traore. And I was like, oh yeah, it's just Doherty. He's just running in the box. But he was playing like a number 10. just getting in behind Jimenez. So yeah, I've got to have him just for the excitement. So he's in. Bournemouth side of things, we were talking about this yesterday, but I've got sadly nothing good to say about Bournemouth, because I used to really like them. I kind of feel like they're probably our like most local team, but yeah, they're just in such performance moments. They've lost their last 6 away games. They've conceded at least 2 goals in the last 5. They only had 1 shot on target against Palace. They did keep it a little bit tighter because they only let 2 shots on target at their goal. Typically, those were the 2 goals they conceded. And in terms of players, absolutely no one. The only thing I wanted to mention was it was good to see David Brooks back, because he was exciting last season and he made his first appearance of this season. But yeah, I just don't feel good about them getting out of the trouble now.
I mean, I did pick Callum Wilson in the cup pick, so just to quickly mention, and that was awful. I don't know what I was thinking, not picking a double game week player. I just clearly wasn't thinking.
You madman.
So yeah, just. I'm not excited. They might go down, you know. I'm quite.
It'll be them or West Ham, surely.
In the bottom 3, and if they do go down, there's been talk of them not being able to survive down there, because they'll lose all their best players, and they might keep going down and down. So yeah, worrying times for Bournemouth.
I thought it was interesting about Harry Wilson. I mean, we won't get into too much. Ryan Fraser. Like the fact he's rejected the contract, and Harry says he's not going to play him because he's not committed, but. I mean, how much they got out of him last season to not have him around for the last 8 games, I think it's going to be a big blow for them.
How sort of set on Jimenez captain, do you think he'll be? Do you think that'll change?
Pretty set, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I pulled up some stats about how well he'd been doing against Bournemouth. So he scored in each of the last 3 games he's played against Bournemouth, so he obviously likes playing them. The only other... earlier in the week, or as soon as it ticked over, I was like, Salah all the way. But then he didn't play yesterday at all, so I kind of think, what's his fitness level going to be like? And Palace are quite a good team. Fernandes, he's a close consideration, but I kind of feel like Sheffield United could park the bus.
Really?
I
thought he was talking about the Newcastle one. Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Bruno could be a close consideration, but Sheffield United have got such a typically this season good record. Is he going to really haul? Whereas Jimenez, I could see Wolves scoring a couple past Bournemouth, and he's usually involved. He's also really good for bonus. So yeah, I think 1 goal against West Ham was, and he got those 2 bonus points. I'd be happy with a single goal and 2 bonus against Bournemouth. It'd be a 16-point captain return, be no problem, and I can see him doing that. So yeah,
can't complain with
pretty set on Jimenez at the minute.
Oh yeah, I was just going to mention as well, Doherty matching his price with his points per match.
Oh really?
6.3.
Oh nice.
So one of the only players to do that in all of the because obviously Salah, he's not making 12.2 or something per match, is he? So yeah, Doherty doing really well.
Jota not worth considering, is he really? Or is he?
I think he is. I think he is worth considering. Like, he didn't really have much stats, but like he's probably going to be the first that's taken off. But he is going to get returns. So he plays a little bit of hot and cold, kind of like Martial, but when he's on it, then he's on it, and he will get hauls in games. Yeah. So I think if you own him just for these fixtures, maybe if you double up with him, I think he still is a viable pick. Honestly, I've looked at it for this week as a double up in the attack on the free hit. Yeah. So something to consider at least.
Yeah, definitely. All right, on to the next game, Liverpool against Crystal Palace, which I think is like what they consider the last game of Wednesday. I think it's a bit later start, isn't it? All the rest, 8:15 kickoff. Palace look good against Bournemouth. Look really solid, and they have looked solid. I think that was their 4th clean sheet in a row, and they've actually been quite good against Liverpool recently. Kicked 4 goals in the last 2 appearances against them. But they've got a really rough run until the end of the season. They only play 1 team in the bottom half until the end of the season. That's Villa. In about 5 game weeks time. So from their point of view, the only players I would sort of just mention, just to say well done to anyone that's had PVA over the last 4 games, because he's had 41 points, and for a 5% own player, that's really good. You were touting him last week as a player you might bring in, and he duly returned.
I did look at him a lot,
returned a big point score again. And I think the only other one for me is Cahill. So he's a really good price again. So he's 4.4 million. He's looking good on baseline bonus as well as attacking threat as well. So he's had 6 shots in the box, 2 big chances in the last 4 games. Sixth highest overall baseline bonus scorer for defenders under 4.8 million, because I was having a look trying to fill the spot. So I thought that looks quite good. He's only missed games he's been injured this season. Hodgson likes him. So yeah, 4.4 million. He could be a good benchable defender option until the end of the season. But talk to me about Liverpool, because no Salah for you this weekend. Salah for me. Another Salah fail for me. He's not in your free hit team at the minute. Who's going to be in your team post free hit? Is it going to be Salah or Mane?
I don't know at this point. I think we need to hear from Klopp to say if he's fit or not. But I think we have heard just from journalists that he was just saved. They didn't want to risk him, so he should be fine for this game. But yeah, Mane has a much better record against Palace than Salah does. But they certainly missed Salah and Robertson in this the Everton game. So I think Salah is probably going to come back hungry, but he doesn't really get as much sort of service, I guess, from because his Trent is firing across to Mane. So I like the combo of Mane and Trent.
Yeah.
And Mane is a decent captaincy shout, I think. But Crystal Palace do sort of seem to be Liverpool's bogey team a little bit. Often turn up and do well against Liverpool. So I think a clean sheet looks pretty likely. Although does it? I don't know. Wildcard, you'd probably only go one Liverpool defender, wouldn't you? On free hit, maybe two. I'm not sure. Is Robertson worth the money? Obviously, Trent's a shoe-in, but Van Dijk is 6.5, maybe a header. That seems like quite likely for a goal, possibly. But yeah, Mane. So from the last game, an XG of 0.0, bad. XA of 0.07, not even on 0.1. 0 shots, 0 big chances created. So yeah, geez, that was a pretty bad game from him. But they missed Salah, they missed Robertson. So not sure if you can look too much into that. But just on fixture wise, you think he probably is the best captain of the week.
I kind of felt like without Salah, they just lacked a lot of impetus. They didn't also. It seemed like the
pace and stuff.
Yeah, it just seemed like it was the most lethargic game of the weekend as well. Like of all the teams we've seen, those two didn't look up to scratch, which I was kind of surprised by with the Klopp team. I kind of thought they'd still be quite raring to go, but they haven't got that anywhere near their usual intensity. And then even if Salah comes back in for this one, for someone, he's obviously got a knock or something for missing that Blackburn game, not appearing in this one. He obviously can't be risked even 10 minutes, 15 minutes at the end. So yeah, I'm kind of think he'll come off the bench against Crystal Palace. So
really?
Yeah, he's probably not going to be on my captaincy. Well, or if he does start, he's definitely not completing the 90 minutes because Klopp can't. All the impact injuries, all the sort of like muscle, tendon looks like. We've had a few Achilles injuries as well that we've had since the start of the season. If Salah's not fit and he's running around for 90 minutes, he's quite likely, I would have thought, to pick up something. So surely Klopp's...
Would you not just go Mane on your wildcard then? Like, what's the point of having Salah at that point?
Yes, that's a good point. I don't know, it just feels like an extra transfer. You know what I mean? It feels like an extra transfer I might have to make when I'm already penciled in to do Vardy and Rashford.
What, you think Mane out would be an extra transfer?
Yeah, because I think I probably want to get Salah back. I just don't like the fear of not owning Salah is huge.
See, I'm considering not having any of them.
You've got to
this
have,
week, which is I think is kind of crazy. For this week, do you think?
Nah.
For Crystal Palace,
I kind of think you've always got to have a Liverpool midfielder.
See, I think from the wild card, I'm probably not going to have any.
Wow.
Actually.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm thinking of going quite ballsy with the wild.
I'll believe that when I see it, that you have no Liverpool attack. You won't want to watch these, Kieran. Let's just go over the games. After Crystal Palace and Man City, let's forget the Man City game. After that, they've got Aston Villa, Brighton and Burnley. They need to win 2 of those 3 games to win the league, Kieran. You're going to have no attackers.
Maybe.
No, you're not. It's not happening. You might even have double by the time it comes round. You'll have no Liverpool attackers against Aston Villa or Burnley at home, and they know they win to win the title for the first time in 20 years.
Trent is a Liverpool attacker, I remember.
Okay. All right. we'll come back to that.
Anyway.
Okay, so on to Thursday's games. I think there's only 3, isn't there? Let's start with Burnley against Watford. There's absolutely nothing to say on Burnley because we don't even know what team they're going to play because we haven't had any team sheet. Have we? Because what time are we now?
No, still too early for it.
Still too early. We're 10 to...
they've not played yet, so...
How worried are you about Aguero's start tonight?
I'm pretty sure Aguero starts tonight.
I can't. It'd be exciting to get live reaction on screen as De Bruyne and Ederson are both benched. Cool. All right, Watford on the side of things. I think they've got a good chance. Why I've picked Sarr over Grealish is the fixtures. They've got 3 teams from the bottom half in the next 5. They've got Norwich, Newcastle, Southampton, and as well as that, they've got games against Burnley and Chelsea. Which I think this Burnley game for them's on Thursday is not a bad one. I think they performed defensively pretty well against Leicester. They limited them to just 2 shots on target. They themselves had 3 big chances. I thought Sarr was a little bit unlucky in the first half. He had that chance running through on goal one-on-one.
Probably should have scored.
Which is why I've sort of looked at him and thought, look, he looks like a problem. On the defensive side of things, I think there's quite a few options to squeeze into those like me who are potentially on a wild card looking for cheap options. So Cathcart, who had been in my team, 4.3 million, had played in all but 2 games this season, so surprising to see him benched. Dawson, 4.8, came in, obviously scored. Then these are the cheap options. So Cabaselli, 4.3 million, centre defender. He's played in the last 10 or 12 games consistently, picked up the assist at the weekend and a single bonus. Kiko Firmino, right back, typically is really injury prone, but if he can prevent himself from getting injured, 4.2 million for him, and I think Messina on the other side is 4.3. So there's cheap options in that Watford defence. I've gone Cabaselli as he looks the most nailed on. Remains to be seen if Cathcart gets back in the team. If so, who's it for? Hopefully not Cabaselli. I think Watford have got a couple of good options. Not interested in Troy Deeney, previously burnt in the past, but yeah, let's hope Sarr can do the business. I think he'd look quite good, and you were interested in him before the break, weren't you?
Yeah, I did actually buy him on my in my transfers during the lockdown. Yeah, I did want him because I thought he had decent fixtures, but obviously the limited transfers changes things. But Foster might be a good keeper as well. He's only 4.9 now, so he has dropped a little bit. And yeah, he's what, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th highest scoring keeper.
Yeah, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's not too bad considering the fixtures. He often gets a lot of saves. He can be a hero. He has been a hero for me in the past. So, yeah, I don't mind Foster as a pick as well, possibly.
Yeah. All right, on to Saints against Arsenal. Let's pick up straight away by talking about the big man again, Aubameyang. So he failed to deliver in both of the Gameweek 30 games, 9 shots across the 2, most of them in that Brighton game. What would you say to managers who brought him in on unlimited transfers, don't have a wild card, don't have a free hit? They got back-to-back games now against Southampton and Norwich. Arteta came out and said it's unacceptable to lose 2-1 to Brighton. Yeah. They surely big reaction in this next game.
Yeah, I think you keep 100%. As annoying as it is, I think you keep for Saints and Norwich. He is that big of a troll that he is going to haul in these next 2, annoyingly. Although he is consistent, I guess, but it's just frustrating, and I never seem to get his points whenever I own him, and he always hurts me whenever I don't. So he's going to haul. Yeah. So there you go. Happy owning people.
I think Arsenal were really interesting over the 2 games. I know that they were like a bit of a laughing stock for how they capitulated against Brighton and David Luiz as well, but I mean defensively they looked okay despite all that. So they only conceded 5 shots on target in that Brighton game and gave up just 1 big chance. I thought Leno did really well in the City game before the David Luiz sending off. I thought David Luiz being subbed on, they were looking quite smart. So I think they've been really unlucky. So Leno, Xhaka and Mari all been out since last Wednesday. It's made players like Guendouzi become potential options at 4.2 million. It's made Holding an option at 4.4 million. He looks like he's going to feature now. And it's also made Martinez, the goalkeeper, who got subbed in 4.2 million. I thought he was quite poor for Mupai's goal. He went down really easy. But they've got some decent fixtures for the next 2, and he's going to be the least expensive goalkeeper, cheapest goalkeeper out. So could be an option.
Did you hear they're considering a move for Joe Hart?
Are they really? I saw he got released by Burnley, but I didn't know that. That could be quite interesting. Why would... I mean, surely Martinez is going to be better than Hart.
Surely you would just play Martinez, yeah.
That's a strange
I
one.
thought... he went down early for the Mopai goal, but before that he was making decent saves and he had good hands and everything, so I thought he was actually quite good.
Maybe it's just back up to him.
Yeah, I guess they have just like a academy keeper back up to Martinez.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I was really impressed with Saka. Like, it was such a gamble for me because I must admit, like, I hadn't watched much of Arsenal pre-lockdown, and I'd seen his name banded about. I'd seen, obviously, looking at fantasy and looking at some stats that he'd done all right, but to me, he looks like one to watch for next season. Arteta played it, so he had the 4th most minutes across the 2 games after Aubameyang, Bellerin, and Mustafi. Played left wing in both games. It was on corners. Also hit the bar in that Brighton game. I kind of feel like 7 points total for a player that's 4.7 million is a fantastic return. And yeah, if Arteta persists with him until the start of next season and he makes some changes, I think Saka could be a really interesting 4th midfielder option for next season. I know it's
Don't see why you have to wait till next season. He's good now.
Not. Yeah, he's good
because he seems to be nailed at the moment. Like he's part of that midfield now instead of just a backup to Tierney at the end of the left back. So. I think if you can afford a 4.7 as just sort of a first midfield sub, then absolutely, why not?
Him over Cantwell now. I think he just
100%.
He looks good. So I was impressed. Yeah. What have you got to say on the Saints side of thing? Obviously, we talked a little bit about Armstrong earlier.
Obviously, your man Ingsy.
Yeah. Yay.
Bloody annoying because I obviously did own him at the end of Gameweek 29 when everything shut down. Yeah, I think he got me like 1 goal in like 7 weeks or something ridiculous when he was just bang on form before that. And then, as soon as I sell him on the unlimited transfers, he goes and gets a goal and assist as well. So just usual Ings, isn't it, I suppose? But 4 shots. XG of 0.53, which is pretty good for one game. XA of 0.27. 1 big chance. 0 big chances created though, but 4 key passes, which is quite high for a striker. Southampton in general, they had an XG of 2.28, which is 3rd overall, which is I think it was exactly the same as Man United, which is good. I think playing Arsenal at the right time when they're capitulating, looking pretty bad. So Saints could do the business here, honestly. Obviously, it has Armstrong as well. 0.2% owned, looks in form too. Redmond got his goal as well, looks pretty good. In general, Saints looking good right now. Even Bednarak, who's like, I think he's 4.4 or something. He's a cheap enabler. Stevens is 4.4, still good. McCarthy at 4.5. So there's lots of options for them. Even though after this Arsenal fixture, they got Watford away, Man City home, Everton away, Man United away. So the fixtures are rough, but. Assuming, are you going to keep Ings? I can't remember if you kept him or not.
He's way gone. I'm so thankful. Remember when we did the show last week, I had Tammy in position as my striker instead of Ings. Thank goodness. Like, it was a 10-point swing just there. So I kind of backed Ings because he had a bit of pre-season form and he was guaranteed start and he's delivered. I think he's like he's almost like the talisman now for Southampton. So he's going to play all the games until the end of the season. But I think there's players with better fixtures.
I'm not sure he'll play every game. He is a little bit fragile. So maybe he comes off 60 minutes every game, but we'll see. But maybe that was the last time to sort of pick Saints players.
He's only 5 points for the season behind Aubameyang and total overall points, 4 behind Jimenez. So he's done so well this season. But I think that the fixtures now are maybe a bit too tricky for him. Any more to add on that one?
No,
we're on to the last game of the game week, and it's just gone 7 o'clock, and we're going to talk about Man City. You can look up the team news. So, City against Arsenal last time out. City looked good, so they had 20 shots, 12 on target, back in a big way. I thought. It's always tricky going to Stamford Bridge with a crowd, so it'll be interesting to see how they find it with an empty stadium. City have won 3 of their last 5.
Aguero starts. Sorry.
There you go. Yes. He's happy now. Well, go on, you can do the full... Although this is going to be live and exciting for us now, for people who are listening on replay, they're like, yeah, we know, and they won 5-0 against Burnley.
Guess who's on the bench?
Oh, it's not Kevin, is it?
It is.
Golly.
Strange. Edison, Cancelo, Otamendi, Fernandinho. Not even Laporte starting. Ooh. Zinchenko, Rodrigo, David Silva, Foden, Bernardo, Mahrez starts there, which are a bit of a surprise. Sterling on the bench too, and Aguero up the top.
Interesting. Well, I'm pleased because I do have Aguero and Ederson, but obviously KDB captaincy on the bench. Let's see what happens, because any returns from Aguero, I'm still happy because his ownership is, what was it, like 20 odd something, maybe 22. I think,
yeah, it's quite low.
KDB got most captains, so yeah, we'll find out.
Is there much potential for attacking? I guess there's still David Silva, there's still Foden, Bernardo, and Mahrez to sort of feed Aguero, so there's still good chance. So possibly Aguero is quite literally not first choice anymore with that team.
Yeah, it's strange. All right, so I suppose players to talk about is KDB. Typically now he's just been benched, but 51%. He's now the highest scoring midfielder in the game. He's way in front of Salah now. So headliner against Arsenal, 5 shots, 2 key passes, 2 big chances created as well. Another huge performance. I had noted a huge performance like that tonight would be welcome, but that's probably not going to happen now. 8 passes into the box. I think Sterling and Ederson and Laporte look good as well. Another combo. So since Laporte's come back from injury, he's got a clean sheet in 3 of the 3 games he's started. So I think after the Liverpool away game, they've got such a nice run. I think they play most of the bottom half. So after Chelsea, they play Liverpool away, and then they've got 6 games in a row against teams in the bottom half of the league, including 3 of the bottom 4. So finding a potential defender, maybe it looks like Ederson would be the safest bet, who you could bring in your side from the City game. There could be a lot of clean sheets there, and if you pick the right attacker, there could be some really nice attacking returns too. But like we've seen tonight already, there's Pep's loving a bit of rotation.
See, what I was considering for the wildcard would be Ederson, Laporte, and KDB, and just I know there's going to be rotation, but I think Laporte will see most games at least. This is obviously quite a quick turnaround. This game. Actually, no, it's not
going to
really.
be normal.
It's like 5 days, isn't it? So yeah, I quite like that double City defense, and just to have KDB, because I think there's loads of clean sheets, as you just said. There's that Southampton, Newcastle, Brighton. Until the end of the season, there should be a good few clean sheets there for City, and they, of all teams, have looked 100% the sharpest to come back after the break. Man City, so it looked like they hadn't even stopped, didn't they?
Yeah,
so,
no, they look good. But it's just going to be the rotation as per usual again. That how do we predict it?
I'm very surprised Laporte hasn't started, because he came off at 60 minutes. I thought he would be nailed on to start this game. And even De Bruyne, who came off at like 70 odd minutes, I thought he'd 100% start because he came off. Strange. Yeah,
it's a very mixed up. I mean, from what you've just read to have a look at it, sounds like quite a mixed up team compared to last week. So it's going to be difficult as it's been all season to predict those Pep lineups. So maybe it's best to go with someone like Ederson. See if he can produce another clean sheet tonight, and maybe he nearly got an assist, didn't he?
I was about to say he did nearly get an assist. Yeah,
assist tonight would be
Love
good.
That.
All right, on Chelsea side of things, Azpilicueta was the standout, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, obviously I was talking a lot about Alonso, and a lot of people wanted Alonso because he was on fire before the break. Azpilicueta, the sort of dullard pick of that Chelsea defence. 2 assists out of nowhere in like a couple of minutes, I think it was, and 8 points. Obviously, did concede still, but without that, Villa didn't really cause any other problems really. So there's really that only one chance. So they could have had a clean sheet, and Aspie would have been on like a 15-point odd haul, I guess, which would have been massive for him. Only 5.9% owned as well, so big differential. And again, after City, Chelsea fixtures are great. They got West Ham away, Watford at home, Crystal Palace away, Sheffield United away. Those are fixtures that you can see quite a few clean sheets possibly. Obviously, Chelsea defence generally this season hasn't been good, but after this break they looked pretty good against Villa. So we'll see, I suppose. But yeah, in general, other than Aspie, like they're quite Man City-esque, because you don't really know who's going to play. You don't really know which are the best picks, because Alonso, although he did play, didn't do much. Giroud started instead of Tammy. Good goal, but at the end didn't do a lot much else. Mount had sort of a man of the match performance, but he didn't really have any end product in the end. Ruben Loftus-Cheek obviously came back, looked great in pre-season for the start, but no actual form in the game itself. Pulisic as well, didn't start. You'd expect him to probably be starting, but yeah, probably too rotation prone. But when he plays, he does seem to do quite well. And then Tammy, he's no longer a starter either. So there is so many options in that Chelsea team, but they're so hard to pick them, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, really tricky. I to be honest, none of the Chelsea players are really standing out as ones who are options for me at the minute, which is strange because I think they've got a lot to play for and holding that 4th Champions League spot. But I don't feel confident picking Giroud or Tammy, and I don't feel confident feeling Pulisic or Mount. So, like you say,
even Aspie, he does like it. He's just so strangely that he does seem to get returns, but you never feel like he's going to. But though he does, so he just seems so dullard at 5.9 million. Like maybe he is the pick, I suppose.
Yeah,
but it is expensive for someone who,
he is, and for a team that don't keep a ton of clean sheets, you're sort of relying on his assist potential. I mean, he's got 5 this season, but I think their clean sheets, have they had 2 in their last 10 games, something like that, 2 in their last 12 games? It's not very many, so you're relying on that attacking output. Any more to add on that one?
No. Well, what do you think the score's going to be in this one? Do you think City are going to bash it up? I don't know. I think it's going to be quite tight, surely.
I kind of feel like I think City will win. But I think it'd be close. Maybe being a
City need to, don't
1-0 or 2-1, something like that. So we'll see. All right, that wraps it up, doesn't it? I think we've just got to talk about our Cougar Cup pick. So we're still in the midst of last week's one where I had Laporte, and you had Wilson. So I think I'm already up, but it doesn't look like it's going to change much now. Doubt Laporte's going to come on. This week.
Yes, so 31. I'm in between 2 picks, but I think I had Kane as my backup, but he's obviously awful now. But so I'm just going to go for ASM and Alan St. Maximin.
Okay.
Just because why not? Villa at home. He's looked good recently.
Yeah.
Back him to continue his form.
I like it. Now then, I'm going to pick. Who are you going to pick up as your backup?
My backup's Kane.
Okay. All right. I'm going to pick as my headliner Richarlison, but you might bring him in. So I've been thinking about a backup, and I'm going to go Paulie Pogba because.
See, I might bring Pogba in as well, but I probably won't bring both.
Exactly, that's what I was hoping. So I'm kind of thinking you're not going to do both of those. So Paulie Pogba. I thought he looked quite good when he came on. Got the assist with the penalty. So he's going to be mine for this week. Cool. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us this week. Enjoy the quick turnaround. We'll be back. We'll post up on YouTube when we're back again. Another quick turnaround for. I think when's the next game week start? Does it start Saturday again? After it ends Thursday? I can't even remember off the top of my head.
I can look.
It's chaotic.
It's Saturday,
oh my gosh. So we'll be back Thursday or Friday evening, I'm sure, to do a little bit of a short show.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll see you next time. Good luck and bye bye from me.
Yeah. Cheers and good luck, everyone.